Good morning, happy Friday, and you know what? It only just occurred to me now. This whole week has been the last day of the week of the month of August. And I didn't realize that until after yesterday's video. I'm like, wait, this is the last Thursday in August, isn't it? Haven't really been doing that good of a job about that now, have I? I don't know, I guess things have just been so incredibly eventful and yet not eventful at the same time. It just hasn't crossed my mind to talk about these things. Plus, I do plan on doing another Arc Thoughts about Dragon Ball, doing the Frieza saga. I definitely want to talk about that at some point before this month is over. But then again, I also have to do the month of August in retrospective as well. I mean, I guess I could do both tomorrow. So, I guess I might just have to do that. Especially when there was a Hot Ones episode yesterday. To my surprise. I don't think anyone was more surprised or happier than I was to see this. And the guest completely shocked me as to who this was. Just the fact there was a new episode of Hot Ones alone, that was my high. Well, that and plus the dinner my mom made last night, which is chicken Marengo. I've done a mom food chronicle on that before, so it's on my channel if you want to look it up. But, oh my gosh, of all people to have on Hot Ones, David Beckham? I mean, I guess in a way, it was preordained. Because many years ago, when wow, it seems like a long time, but years ago when Gordon Ramsay was on Hot Ones, there was that one photo of him at a Lakers game with David Beckham and I can't remember the name of the other person, but they were, the fact that Gordon Ramsay and David Beckham know each other, and the fact that in the episode, David Beckham actually said, I saw the episode with Gordon, and it was wild. And he kept his promise on, David Beckham actually kept his promise on something, but I'll get to that in a second. So I would say that my low is, I kind of procrastinated getting out of bed this morning. I totally could have gotten up an hour sooner, but I probably would have been bored for an hour too, so there's a lot of give and take there. Which kind of also wasn't a very good, smart idea on my part, because, I mean, listen, this isn't just any weekend, this is Labor Day weekend. You won't see me in this room again until Tuesday morning. So, yeah, definitely need to, really got to make sure that if there's something I need to take with me, I got to take it with me. Luckily, though, all the important stuff I have is right by my door. So, yes, it's right by my door. Let's see. Trying to think. My low is obviously procrastinating out of bed. My high would be, yesterday's episode of Hot Ones and dinner. And my act of kindness was I actually helped make dinner. I mentioned that my mom made chicken Marengo last night. And there was you gotta have a side. And usually whenever you have chicken Marengo, we have rice to go with it. And honestly, are you a rice to the side kind of person, or are you, a rice underneath the kind of person? Personally, I'm the latter, because all the sauce and the juices get absorbed in the rice. Oh, it's so good. Funny enough, before I started this video, someone asked me what the recipe was, so I probably messaged them. So yeah, I'll tell you what. If any of you guys want the recipe for anything I do for a Mom Food Chronicle, I'll try and I'll PM you the recipe to the best of my ability. I mean, listen, I do like to cook, yes, but I don't pay attention to measurements at all. I just pretty much do whatever feels right. Speaking of doing whatever feels right, let's talk about hot ones. So, David Beckham, of all people. And, I mean, listen, I'm not like a soccer guy, I'll admit that. But I have friends who love soccer, and I really do have much respect for the sport and how it's brought people together. I believe it's the most played sport in the entire world. Someone's got to fact check me on that. And again, it brings, sports, much like food and religion, are just one of those things that really do bring a lot of people together. And over in Europe especially, where soccer is king, or football, as they call it, that's where it's at. So, and again, much like in any episode of Hot Ones, even though I knew who David Beckham was, just about everyone on planet Earth knows who he is, all I know is that, going in, all I knew is that he was a famous soccer player. That's it. When there's clearly so much more to that, and that's the great thing about a show like Hot Ones. Like, if it's someone that you already knew, you get to learn so much more about that person. If it's someone you don't know, then your first impression of them, and therefore you're learning more about them as the episode goes on, makes the experience all the better. Who knows? Maybe you'll see me on Hot Ones someday. I would totally do it too. I live in upstate New York. It's only, and First VP studio, I believe, is in New York City. It's about a 4.5 hour drive. I can do it. Okay. So let's talk about the questions that Sean asked, including, because, listen, David Beckham is like the big star. Like, he's the football or soccer, what LeBron James is the basketball. And obviously that makes him a very notable and very credible veteran. And obviously throughout his career, he's made some career changes in terms of who he's played for. And so the first question was was articulating how, like, an old star talks to a new star about those transitions into making huge career moves. And you can talk it over with an agent, you can talk it over with a manager or coach or anything like that. But when it's player to player, like, that is a huge difference. Because Sean asked about how they got Messi over to play for, I believe, the U.S., which is insane because, like, after David Beckham, I'd say, like, the next generation after him would be, like, both Mbappe and Messi. And the fact he got Messi is huge. I didn't know about that. Again, I don't follow soccer as much as I should. But again, like, the fact that you have a big player like Messi playing for the U.S. means there's going to be so many kids here in the United States that are going to be inspired to play soccer. Like David Beckham even said himself, someday the men's U.S. team is going to win the World Cup. I certainly would like to see it. They got a long way to go, but having Messi come over here to the U.S., that's a step in the right direction. They talked about how, like, there's a sensation of knowing when a strike is going to hit the goal before it even happens. It's just like a feeling that, like, kind of like when Steph Curry shoots a three, like, he celebrates it even before it goes in because, like, yeah, he's Steph Curry. He knows that three-pointer's going in. David Beckham has that same thing. He just has that sort of, yeah, the goal's going to hit. He talked about the culture shock of first joining the MLS, or Major League Soccer. And he talked about how, so when the teams travel to different places, they stay overnight, and they're given like some money to get themselves, food to eat. And again, David Beckham was just new to being in the United States. He didn't really know what was going on. So he talked about how for a pregame meal, he actually got dessert at Cheesecake Factory. Which is actually full disclosure, I've never eaten at Cheesecake Factory before. The closest one we have, I believe, is in Binghamton. But that's just a far away drive. Honestly, it's just not worth the trouble. But again, it's funny that, David Beckham got dessert at Cheesecake Factory. He talked about how over the course of his career, you're going to have some injuries. You're going to feel achy or sore in the morning. Is there any sort of specific movement or pain that takes him back to the moment of like, oh yeah, I remember how that happened? Like, for example, I actually have a scar in the middle of these two fingers. And I remember exactly how I got it through wrestling. Note to self, if you're a wrestler, trim your fingernails. Anyway, but the point is, I remember how I got that. I remember how I got this. With David Beckham, like, nothing serious other than rupturing his Achilles. But his back hurts and he knows why. It's that sort of form he takes as he's about to kick the ball. Which Sean was able to respond with a literal bend it like Beckham joke. Which he got in there. He talked about his memories of playing with Zidane and talking about how his best memories were both his last game and his training session. Because in the latter, Zidane walks up to him and he's like, "It was great to play with you." Like, dude, he said I was cool. That's literally, that's not really what he says to all his friends. But that's just so cool. That'd be like me working on a movie with a famous celebrity. And obviously I would try and act like a professional and try and do a good job. And after that, said celebrity walks up and was like, "You know what, it was really fun working with you." That'd be so cool. That'd be really cool to have with me someday. He talked about how watching that documentary, because obviously, let's say for the sake of argument, someone's filming you or someone makes a documentary about you. What you see on screen is what you see on screen. You don't really understand the legit point of view of the person you're watching unless you hear it from themselves. So that was a really smart question for Sean to ask. And, the big thing is his thoughts on the 1998 World Cup. That's what comes to mind. But then they talked about how the interview with Ali G, his wife Victoria crushed the interview. But little did we all know that before the interview happened, David's like, "You know what, Victoria," that's his wife, "I'm just going to let you do all the talking." And she did. And she crushed the interview. He talked about how what his favorite chant from fans is, which really whenever David Beckham's on the field, they really just do songs about older players. The only chant he ever wants to hear is "There's only one David Beckham." And I agree. There is only one David Beckham. He talked about how he downed 32 escargot at Chez l'Ami Louis in Paris. And he talked about growing up and, all the food, going to Spain, all the food he ate, and how, this world is so multicultural and you gotta go out and see it for yourself. The food you have at home, you're always going to love it. And nothing will ever compare to it. But there really is something about trying something new in a faraway location and actually enjoying it. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, I did say escargot. Yes, snails. I actually like escargot. I probably haven't had escargot in a couple decades. But I would definitely try it again if at all possible. He talked about how he talked about him being a Lego master, and how he doesn't have a favorite thing he's ever built. He talked about why Say You'll Be There is his favorite Spice Girls song, and that's because he noticed his future wife, Victoria. In fact, he talked about the story of how, like, he's watching the Say You'll Be There video. He points to Victoria. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember which Spice Girl is which. Points to her, says, I'm gonna make that woman my wife. And there's a game that happens later, and one of his teammates walks up and says, dude, 2 of the Spice Girls are here. He's like, who? Sporty and Victoria. And he tried talking to her, but he's afraid he missed his shot. But then they showed up to another game, and he got to talk to her again. Like, that is just the luckiest thing ever. Like, I'll be honest, there's just one girl I do like myself, and I do want to talk to her, but every time, like, I see her, I really do get weak-kneed, and like, oh no, I screwed something up. She doesn't want to see me ever again, oh no. But, you know what, that's okay, because nothing bad's happened so far. I mean, I hardly ever see this girl, but the point is, you know, I haven't said anything to make her feel creeped out by me yet. And then for the final win, the last day of experience, they talked about what comes to mind with the different David Beckham hairstyles, like the mohawk, the shaved head, the ponytail. I had no idea David Beckham had so many hairstyles. I mean, listen, your hair is your hair, and you're free to do with it whatever you want. Me personally, unless I'm going through chemo, I do not think I could ever see myself as bald. There's just no way. I like having hair. Like, I once tried getting a haircut, and it was shaved a little bit lower than normal, and it was cold outside. When I first walked out of my apartment, like, I could feel the chill just go right over my scalp. I'm like, ugh, that's insane. So I don't know if I could ever go bald, but for those of you guys out there who are, you know, you don't have hair on their heads, you know, well, for one thing, you should be proud of who you are, no matter what. Like, your style is your style, and don't ever let anyone take that away from you. But you definitely have, but if you're bald, you definitely have my salute. Because I could never do that. I mean, yes, I know sometimes it's not really a choice, and, you know, I'm very sorry. But if you are legit rocking it, you know, don't let anyone take that away from you. Your style is your own, and that is who you are. Well, actually, lots of things make it who you are, but style, you know, style gives that certain flair, that like the sort of spice and variety that make you who you are, you know. But anyway, yeah, this was a great Hot Ones episode. I'm glad I got to learn about David Beckham. I'll be honest, I've never seen David Beckham speak in an interview or anything. Again, I'm just not that big of a soccer fan. But I do have respect for the sport, I really do. And, I mean, it's not like a 34-year-old man like myself is going to just go outside, find a soccer ball and kick it around. Obviously, I don't plan on doing that. But I definitely left that episode with a lot more respect for David Beckham himself, the sport of soccer itself, and its overall impact, not just in like the United States, but on the entire world. So, thank you, David Beckham. And I really hope your prediction of the U.S. winning the World Cup comes true someday. I hope y'all like this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching Joe for Name. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. Oh, happy Friday, everyone. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or channel, we're here to learn. They always be back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.